Oh, have they heard the tea yet? Izzy, I'm honestly surprised we haven't done this video yet. I have so much to say about Loveland, Colorado.
Right, and I feel like most of the videos we've done on Loveland have all been pros, which we are going to bring some new pros today. But since living here for the last 7 months, I have a few cons that I have a bone I'd like to pick with Loveland, Colorado.
Okay, well, today we're going to talk about some pros and cons that you should know prior to living in Loveland, Colorado.
Or if you already live here, we'd love to know if you agree with our pros and cons. Put it in the comments below.
Yes, please.
We're going to be saving our favorite pro and con for last, but the first con that I'm going to be talking about is city beautification in Loveland, Colorado. So when we have oftentimes have a lot of clients that are coming here and originally think that they're going to be moving to Fort Collins, then maybe they take a look at prices and are like, wow, my dollar stretches a lot further in Loveland. And so what we like to tell people is Loveland's about 10 to 15 years behind Fort Collins. And one thing when I talk about like a negative difference between Fort Collins and Loveland is that Loveland's just not as pretty as Fort Collins.
Yeah.
And so I think downtown Loveland, I think it has a sweet charm. There's the lights, the murals, the flowers. Are there flowers?
There could be a lot more kind of to compare as far as Fort Collins, downtown Fort Collins. And the gentrification process is just a little bit behind. Like we're starting to see it. People are buying properties, lots, scraping them, building these beautiful homes that fit back into the neighborhood, just bringing that lively, gorgeous character back into downtown Loveland and the surrounding areas of downtown.
Yeah, and even, I mean, you'll see when you drive around Old Town Fort Collins, there's so many older homes that have been restored, and I would say there's some in Loveland that have been, but there's
not
so
many.
many.
I would say like a handful. But
yeah.
It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, and so just in terms of like when you're driving around Fort Collins, most of the town is just like, I don't know, I just say pretty. Where in Loveland, there's still a lot of areas where the buildings are clearly going to be scraped eventually to put in like just a newer, old, more modern
that's like
shopping.
Old commercial buildings still that are unused right now. Yeah. And so all that land and stuff is getting bought up by developers and cool places are actually going in.
Yeah.
All right, the first pro I'm going to share with you today is going to be the school district. Thompson R2J School District is actually a really dang good school district. We are overshadowed some by Poudre. Poudre does pay a little more, retaining teachers a little longer, and so their ratings and the likeliness from the community are going to be a little bit higher, but we are still ranked one of the highest schools districts along with Poudre in nation. So like no one's getting left behind. Scores are continuing to increase. We had an elementary school along with 2-3 others that actually scored the highest in the state of Colorado.
One of them scored the highest in the state of Colorado. The other one scored very high as well.
Carrie Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So we hear it all the time of, hey, we have young kids. We want to be in Poudre School District. That's the school that we want to do. And so I just don't like the shadow it overcasts on Thompson R2J because it is actually a really good district. I know a lot of people that we help relocate to Northern Colorado are coming from like a super metro area, and there are schools that like your kids can't go to safely. They're not getting the education. They're getting left behind. So yeah, that's going to be my first pro that I wanted to share with you today is like Thompson School District is actually killing it.
And what about sports?
Oh, sports. Well, football for Thompson Valley, when I went there, it was terrible. They got a new coach 3 years ago, and they are on the up and up. They are undefeated right now.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Thompson Valley?
Thompson Valley football is undefeated right now.
The varsity team?
The varsity team.
Okay.
They whooped the heck out of Loveland High, which...
Oh, Thompson Valley. I'm thinking of Loveland.
Yeah, because you're Loveland.
Oh, yeah.
So Thompson Valley whooped the heck out of
Loveland
High, where Izzy's little one goes. And Mountain View just got stomped as well. So, like, I'm pretty proud to say, let's go Eagles. And I have to. Love the Eagles even more anyway. I've been coaching there for 13 seasons now, track and field, and...
He also went there, so he's reliving the glory days.
And I did go there. I'm not reliving the glory days.
He goes to every game.
I've gone to 2 games this season. I have friends with kids that play.
Right.
I'm not a little weirdo.
Peaked in high school.
I apologize that I still support my school that I went to by donating my time and energy to these track and field kids.
Let me pull out the violin.
Alrighty, let's go on to our next. Our next con is going to be the lack of diversity in food that we have to offer here in Loveland, Colorado.
But
we
actually have way more options. So we're going to list the things that you do have options for and the things you don't have.
Okay. So let's go ahead and list the types first.
Yeah. So we have a lot of Thai food, which is my favorite. We have some Indian, some Vietnamese, some Japanese, Mexican.
A lot of Mexican food. Not Tex-Mex, but Mexican food.
A lot of really good like taco trucks with authentic. Yeah, you can find them. I mean, they're like in random parking lots. It's great.
Yes.
Yeah, but the things we're lacking.
Things that we're lacking.
Seafood, obviously.
Seafood is what she says, but I would like to share this little tidbit with you. So, for being a landlocked state, Colorado actually has some really good seafood because most of the seafood is flown in through DIA and distributed to surrounding states that we locked in with. So,
okay, but we're not talking about Colorado. We're talking about Loveland.
Well,
so
I'm saying like Loveland gets pretty good seafood in comparison to other places.
Yeah.
We just don't have the volume of seafood places.
Question: have you ever lived on the coast?
I have never lived on the coast.
Okay, so you can't talk about it.
Okay,
because
fair.
It's different.
I've been here my whole life,
Right.
32, on 33 years.
I grew up in Washington, so I grew up on West Coast. But then recently I went to North Carolina and we had a seafood boil on the beach. Oh my gosh. I was like, dang, Loveland, we don't have that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Which obviously, I mean.
You can go eat some crawdads on Lake Loveland's beach if you really want.
Yeah, I did eat crawdads there and I didn't like
Then
it.
I wouldn't.
I didn't like it. Not in Loveland, in North Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
I just don't
Okay.
like them as a food.
Well, Cajun food, we don't have much Cajun food here. I know that we used to have a
Lost
place
Cajun.
that's in Fort Collins, Lost Cajun.
There was one in Windsor too.
That's not
closed down.
Those are not called the Lost Cajun.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
What are they called?
I will bet you $100.
Okay, well, I don't have $100, but what? What's it called?
It was called Mo Betta Gumbo.
Oh, you're right.
Which was
The Lost Cajun was downtown Fort Collins. It's not there anymore.
yes, nope.
Okay.
So Mo Betta Gumbo used to be located in Loveland. That's where he opened up his first restaurant on 4th Street, and then he moved down to the Foundry. Since then, moving down there, they shut down that location, and then their location in Windsor had been shut down as well. But that honestly was the only Cajun food that we really had to offer, in my opinion, in northern Colorado, or not
Loveland.
in Loveland, Colorado. So it would be nice to have some Cajun food back. Like, it's hard to find some like fried catfish, some
Yeah.
Oh, I love fried
I've never
catfish.
had that, but yeah, that sounds really
What? Oh my gosh, jambalaya.
I don't know. But I like the
Shrimp and grits.
like as an appetizer at the Lost Cajun, I had the fried rattlesnake thing. You know what I'm talking
Rattlesnake bites. It's like
Yes.
cornbread with corn. There's like corn. Yes.
I like
Rattlesnake
that.
bites.
Sounds good. Mediterranean food, the food of my people. So Loveland does have one. No.
There's
There's there's a kebab shop along, what is it, Cleveland? That's Cleveland. Yeah. It's good. The fries are like the perfect fries you have with a kebab, with a gyro. You know what I'm talking about. So we do have that. But, for like dishes,
yeah.
you have to go down to Denver, really.
A couple other things that we don't really have. We definitely don't really have any Polish food. We definitely don't really have any Cuban food.
Italian's
For real
limited.
Italian, there's maybe like one place that is like true like small town Italian eats.
Yeah.
We do
Not a lot
have
of options.
several pizza places, of course, which is considered Italian food, and like maybe a couple little places, Blocky's Pizzeria. They do some like spaghetti and lasagna type stuff, but just like a true authentic Italian restaurant, like sit down, we kind of lack there for sure. Alrighty, how about you go ahead and tell us the next pro, Izzy?
So a big pro of living in Loveland, that I tell people, especially when they're considering Fort Collins, and they get a little bummed out because their budget doesn't meet what they think they could afford, is I talked to them about Loveland and the cost of home prices. If you want to know more about just general cost of living in Loveland, check out one of our most recent videos, Cost of Living in Loveland, Colorado, and then Patrick's done Cost of Living in Fort Collins. So it's easily to compare those videos, apples to apples, but the biggest difference is the difference in home prices. So for a median sales price for a single family home between Fort Collins and Loveland, it's $100,000.
Here, let's time out right there real quick. With that, we do encourage you to go watch both of them. We want to hear and see your comments. Let's start a little competition, and let's see if we can get more likes than Pat on his stuff, so we can be like, yeah, shut it down, Pat.
Okay.
Anyway, keep going. No college kids.
Yeah, there's no college kids in Loveland, which is great. But first, so just what we like to say is, like, if you want the Fort Collins lifestyle at a discount, Loveland, Colorado is where it's at. And with it being 10 to 15 years behind, there's still, I think, more of an opportunity for equity and for just like I mean, you could still buy a home downtown Loveland for a pretty cheap price, like
absolutely
300.
Huge lot, yes, 300 to 400,000. It's going to be a scraper, but you're getting like a half acre lot.
If you're handy, you could do your thing. But what we're saying is that there's still so much opportunity for that, and then with the way that Loveland's growing, I mean, in 15 years, like, I think it'll be super great investment. We're in Fort Collins, not a lot of numbers crunch.
Yeah.
Pencil.
ROI.
Not a lot of numbers pencil is the expression that I hear Pat say all the time.
Yes, ROI in Loveland, much higher than surrounding areas, just because we have a lot of catching up to do.
Yeah.
Which leads us into our next con. You've probably heard it before from me. You've probably heard it from other people. And if you've ever tried to use it, you will agree. Public transportation provided in Loveland.
You think Fort Collins sucks? Loveland is like bottom feeder.
Yeah, like you will not be able to get to where you need to go on time unless you have hours. The routes and the services are very limited. The times are limited. There's no service on Sundays. The cost is fairly affordable, but if you're really relying on public transportation, this is probably not the spot yet. Maybe here in 15 years when we do catch up, it will be a little more utilizable.
Maybe they'll like connect what goes along College, the Max station and stuff down.
It would be cool if they had a Max station, but they do like a transfer, but it's still a pain. That's another bus you have to get to. So anywhere you want to go in Loveland, I'm pretty much telling you got to get on 2 different buses, and with the frequency that they have, it's just not very. I mean, you could walk or get on a bike and get done what you need to get done almost every day. Even in the winter, you bundle up a little bit, and as long as it's not snowing and it's just not a snowstorm, like you're good to go. You're gonna make it there. The sun's out. Yeah. So if public transportation is something that you are gonna rely on when you move to Loveland, Colorado,
it's probably not the place for you.
Probably not the place for you at all. So that is definitely one of the craziest cons, best cons. Yes. So don't get conned by our transportation. Pro number 3. We are centrally located, which I do like to share with all of our clients moving in from out of state, just so they're really aware of the accessibility that Loveland does provide. So where we're located, we are an hour away from Denver. We're 30 minutes from Loveland, or from Fort Collins, 30 minutes from Greeley. You can get to Johnstown and Timnath, Windsor, 20 minutes. Estes Park, you're only going to be about 40 minutes because you do have to go through Loveland on Highway 34 to get to Estes. Boulder, we can make it there in 35 minutes or so. We're just centrally located to everything. It's very convenient, and so I think that's a huge pro just because I like to go places and I like to see things, do things. And
I'd say like all those times you just gave are very conservative because like truly depends on where you're at in Loveland, right? Because Loveland touches basically every city he just said. Mm-hmm. North, it's Fort Collins. To the west, it's Estes. And then to the east, it's
Greeley, Windsor,
Johnstown.
Berthoud is just south of us. Longmont, Boulder, just
you can get to Denver in under an hour sometimes. So I would say like...
It takes me 45 minutes to get to DIA from my house. Yeah.
And then if you remember in our previous video, downtown Fort Collins, which is north Fort Collins, is 30 minutes away from downtown Loveland, which is south. So it's like tip to tip, basically.
Yep.
So really, it's like we're pretty close to. A con that I'm personally passionate about is the ranger regulated parks in Loveland, Colorado. Now I know I sound like a brat and I sound dumb because regulated parks are a good thing. Rangers are good people. I know that, but I'm just like I'm moving from Wellington. Nobody gives a crap about what you do with your dogs
because nobody's there.
That's not true. But also, I also understand the need for the rules because most people have dogs that don't behave. I get that. Mm-hmm. However, as an owner of 2 dogs that are trained off-leash with e-collars, I'm like, I just want to take my dog somewhere where they can just run because they're bird dogs and they just need to do their thing. And I love swimming them. And so in Wellington, there's a beautiful, gated in dog park with a lake that I can swim them in. Loveland ain't got nothing like that, and it's fine. So then I took them to Long Haggler. The ranger told me, the ranger was not happy with me. That was literally, I was the only car parked there. I was like, dude, what am I even, there's nothing wrong. Anyway, so the thing that is a con for me personally is just there's not very many places that I feel like I can take my dogs to swim or just be off leash and just go on a walk and not have to be walking them on a leash.
Yeah, and hopefully we can change this con for Izzy one day. Well, I'm going to take her around and show her all the places and more places.
He did show me. I'm now coming around because
I do have 2 dogs of my own.
Yes.
They are Rotties.
A lot lazier.
And they are not as active. but they're Rotties, and when I have them off leash, people are very intimidated.
Freaked out about it, yeah.
And so I have a great story. I was at Bodecker one time. My dog's swimming off leash with me. I'm not near the boat ramp. I'm kind of isolated. And there is a black lab that runs up to my dogs. Nothing happened. But this lady went completely left and was yelling at me for having my dogs off leash. Her dog was off leash, ran to where my dogs and myself were, and then proceeded to go probably another 50 yards down and still continue to swim her dog off leash. So it really came down to the breed of dog, which
that's true.
Rotties are a big love teddy bear.
Yeah,
I love them.
He loves them. So when we were driving around getting video for this video, he did show me a few places I could probably swim my dogs and not get in trouble.
Yeah, I gave her a handful,
they're secret places.
And I have more for her. But I can't give away all my secrets.
Yeah, so that's just because it's a big part of my life. I do it twice a day with them, so it's like, wish that the Rangers weren't so up your butthole. But at the same time, there's a lot of places you have to pay to get into as well. Mm-hmm. So if you don't have any state passes, Boyd Lake you have to pay to get into, Devil's Backbone you have to pay to get into.
So every park or open space, pretty much, you need a parking pass.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, but we would recommend, so like when you register your vehicle, you can get the KCW pass, which typically is $80, but with your registration it's $29. So
you must purchase it at the time of registration.
Yeah, and you can get into
all the state parks.
Which there's not, that sounds like, wow, that's great. There's not that many in Loveland to use, but it's fine.
Yep. So your biggest ones are going to be that you're going to utilize all the time. Boyd Lake State Park, which Boyd Lake provides. You can go camping there. They have designated campsites for tent camping, RV camping. The swim beach during the summer. They have Muscle Beach up north, which is going to be all of where you launch your jet skis is where those get launched from. The boat dock, if you have a boat, if you're fortunate enough to have a boat, is going to be a different docking area with a ramp there. So just Boyd Lake alone.
That's true.
If you went there 3 times,
that's true.
Because it's $10 or $11 a day, boom, 3 times for the year, done with. You can go out there whenever you want, and it's beautiful. Laurie State Park, it's going to be accessible with that KWP pass, which is going to be Horsetooth area right there, Laurie State Park. And the difference is Laurie State Park is a state park, Horsetooth is a county park. So those passes do not blend.
How much is the Larimer County Pass?
So Larimer County Pass is going to be $100 for the year. It is a transferable pass. That's another huge difference between the Larimer County Park and the State Park Pass. The KWP is the Laramie.
CW.
Yeah, I shortened it KWP. That's what it's going to be today.
That's
KWP,
funny.
The state park pass anyway. Your county pass is transferable. I can grab it out of my windshield. I can put it in Izzy's windshield, go back and forth. It does allow one vehicle to enter whatever park that may be at that time, while the state parks pass is connected directly with your registration and only allows that vehicle into the park.
With that all said, with the whole going back to the dog thing, me and AJ were looking up the rules, and in Larimer County, your dog has to be on a leash unless if it's in a fenced area or it's actively hunting for...
No, actively training for hunting.
No, actively hunting. It needs to be going after an animal. That's what it said. Or if you're hurting animals. Well, it's hurting or actively hunting.
People are animals, so
I'm like,
watch
how are you
out.
supposed to train your dog, though, to hunt? It doesn't matter. I'm over it. Next.
A pro. So Izzy loved the feel of Wellington, but it was a little too small. Close
comfort. In terms of amenities.
Yeah, so this pro for you, pro number 4 is going to be that the small town feel in Loveland is absolutely 100% there. Without the college kids coming and going, you really get to start to know your neighbors, so to speak, and you will start to recognize and see the same people when you're out to eat, when you're at the library, when you're on a run, when you utilize a certain park, a dog park, a family park, whatever you're really doing, you're going to be out and about and be like, oh my gosh, it's Izzy. I just met you last week at this coffee shop. It was great to see you. I'm glad that we're meeting again, blah, 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 blah. So you still get that really good, close, small town feel in Loveland, just because people are staying around. Yeah. What's there not to love?
Yeah. Con for you to do with eating again. Just kidding. We both love food. I'm just kidding. No late night eats. Talk about it.
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Yeah. It's your con. It's not
Because I
my
like
con.
to eat? Okay.
If I'm trying to eat, to me, late night is like probably after 10 p.m. And if I'm eating anything after 10 p.m., my brain only goes to like, the only option is fast food. But that's not what that means for you.
Yeah, no, late night eats to me, like, I want to sit down and still be able to have, like, a pretty good meal and not just have fast food for dinner.
At 11 p.m.
Well, not necessarily 11 p.m., but we don't want to be those kids that are going in right before it closed. They're pissed at you. You can't get good service.
You call yourself a kid? Do you want to let our channel know how old you are?
I'm 26.
That's plus 13 years.
No, I am not 39.
Plus 10 years.
I'm 26 and I'm sticking to it. But no, I'm very active in the community. I play volleyball 2 nights a week with coaching, during the summer going boating, hiking, anything like that. Like, you don't get back into town until 8, 9 o'clock. Sun's just going down in the summer. Like, I'm not ready to eat then. A lot of places, the kitchen's closing at 9 or 10 p.m. So even though you go online and you may find something that says they're open,
I was going to say,
give them a call first.
When we were talking about this, I was looking at places open late, and I was like, there's so many places. There's the Boot Grill, open till 10:30. There's Rocky River Bar and Grill, open till 11. There's Sports Austin Grill, open till 12 a.m. Is that late enough for you? That's basically morning.
So they're open, but the kitchen
Chicago
is not open.
Pizza and Tap Room, 11 p.m.
That is one that is legitly open. The kitchen is open until they close.
So what are you wanting?
So I want to be able to go at 10 o'clock, at 9 o'clock, at 10 o'clock and get some food. It's very limited as far as, and the kitchen's still open. As far as this, like, we either go into Old Chicago's, Sports Station, or fast food. Okay. There's just not a ton.
Yeah.
Like McGrath's American Grill, I know their kitchen closes at 10. Sometimes they close early. Like, maybe it's 9:30 because it's been slow and it's snowing outside or something like that.
No corner kebab shops if you're...
Yeah. If you're in Fort Collins, just because those college kids never sleep.
Yeah.
There's just always a choice to get food. And fast food, even though I love it, does get old at times at night. But yeah, I just wish...
That's your biggest con of Loveland.
That's my biggest con of Loveland because I'm a night owl.
Yeah,
I like to eat. I'm not a morning person. My days don't start until 8, 9 o'clock.
That's wild.
Which is early for me, and my
by
days...
8:30 p.m. I'm like, it's gonna be about that time.
If I'm honestly cooking dinner for myself at home, I don't even cook until 8 o'clock.
That's crazy.
8:30, I'll start cooking dinner, and I'm having late dinner, which is normal for me. But that's why I think not having eats late night is such a big con for me.
Yeah. My number one pro of living in Loveland, which I'm shocked I have not, it's not you.
Oh, natural beauty. Come on.
Is
1 + 1 is me.
Okay. I'm surprised I haven't brought it up this whole time because honestly, I can't stop talking about it. Even just like every morning when I go out, I'm like, I can't believe I live here. We have amazing views from our house, but it's how beautiful, the natural beauty in Loveland. Fort Collins ain't got nothing on Loveland. You have the lakes, but the mountains are so, I don't know why. I mean, obviously it's just because they're there and Fort Collins has foothills.
And
so the Longs Peak, what are the other ones? Longs
Peak, Twin Sisters. Yeah. Everything. The Rocky Mountain National Park is right there in your face. Like the mountain range is kind of like a C, and we're tucked right up in it.
Yeah, it's
and
so
then
pretty.
Fort Collins has like the foothills.
Yeah, you can't say mountains.
No.
I remember freshman year, I was like driving around. I was like, "Oh my God, the mountains are so pretty." And she goes, "They're foothills," and I was like, "All right."
Yeah, I believe on one of our videos when we were covering like neighborhoods or areas to live in like that, like Mariana Butte, it's pretty much like you can reach out. It looks fake and grab Longs Peak.
So pretty. Yeah, so natural beauty of Loveland, I think, is unbeatable. When I tell people about the difference between Fort Collins and Loveland, I say, the views are just like unbeatable. So yes, the city's not as pretty, but look around. Doesn't matter if the city's as pretty.
Because the city's going to catch up.
And city's going to catch up, and then
you're going to be like, oh, I have the views and the city. And in Fort Collins, you're going to be like, yeah, I have these college kids and the city.
and the dusty foothills.
And the dusty foothills.
Just kidding. We love Fort Collins too. Like, I would live there. I just love. Yeah. But yeah, so that definitely is huge. Devil's Backbone, I think, is the coolest feature.
Up at Keyhole.
So cool.
Dude.
Yeah.
Sunrise or sunset,
It's so
That's
pretty.
awesome. They have mountain biking there too, so they have one trail that's for hiking at Devil's Backbone, and then one is for mountain
Horseback
biking.
riding and horseback riding.
Yeah. And it connects over to Coyote Ridge. Like, you can be doing a big old long loop right here in the Front Range.
Yeah, and I love that Lake Loveland's in the middle of the city. I mean, fireworks for 4th of July, so pretty.
Oh, it's like one of the #1 fireworks shows in the state of Colorado. The whole town pretty much shuts down, and it's impossible to drive anywhere that day.
I know. You know what I realized? Because this was my first 4th of July in Loveland, is that we were like, oh yeah, we'll just go get some food and then go watch. Everything was shut.
Oh yeah, no.
Wing Shack.
Yeah, no.
Everything was closed
down.
for the fireworks.
What they should have done is gone to North Lake Park, right there at Lake
and
Loveland, and they have all the vendors, food trucks, everything like that. So you get to really get out and get in that small town community feel that we're talking about, and meet your neighbor.
Okay.
Gosh, those pros and cons are just the tip of the iceberg of Loveland, Colorado, but we spilled quite a bit tea. I'm Zach Jordan.
I'm Izzy Olson. Thank you for tuning in today, and if you are considering relocating to Northern Colorado, I don't know who else I would ask to work with besides us 5 as a team. We specialize in relocating to Northern Colorado. Or even if you live here, I mean, I wouldn't want to work with anyone else. So.
No, we are the best.
Call us, text us, email us, find us on Instagram.
YouTube, follow us, like us, love us. Drop a comment of anything that you do like. If there's something that you want to see, if there's something that you want us to cover, or if you just want to see and hear more about Izzy and I, like.
Well, I don't think they care about that, but yeah.
Hey, maybe we're entertaining.
I think we are.
People listen to podcasts every day.
We'll see you next week.
Alrighty, tea time.